Chantal is a friend. 10 years ago, we met in a training. And since then, Chantal and Fadi, her husband, were dear friends. We keep in contact. We meet every now and then. And what amazed me in Chantal is that she broke the rules. Let's say it this way. And I like, because I usually say rules are made to be broken. So Chantal broke the rules. So it's not 21 goals or 2020 goals. It's another mindset. I'll let her talk about it. She already created a community that I'm part of it. I attended many of her weekly challenges, and she has a lot to share today. I'm letting Chantal in, and she will tell you more. She will tell you how actually she achieved this. And I hope you go through 2021 with some of her tips, because it worked for me, it worked for her, it worked for many in her community. And I'm sure she's gonna make it happen for you in 2021 with the tips she's gonna share today. Hi, Chantal.
Hi, Andre, how are you?
How's your energy?
Bomba.
Great. Chantal, I'll give you the screen. I'll let you introduce yourself and start with your session. Go.
Perfect. All right. First, would you like to give me, please, access for the sharing the screen?
Of course, you got it.
Thank you. So let me share my screen. So Andre, I was watching you. I realized that I can watch you actually live instead of waiting. And it's interesting when you see yourself being presented. When you were talking about doing the gender balance between men and women, I was thinking that we rise by lifting others. And I think this is what you do, and you're doing it in a perfect way. So thank you a lot for that.
Thank you.
All right, so thank you for inviting me today. As you mentioned, I'm going to talk to you about the power of the weekly resolution. I am Chantal. I'll be introducing myself in a bit. My session will be some sort of a story to tell you what happened with me in 2020. And I'm telling you now that you can achieve any dream when you take it 1 week at a time. And that's the power of the weekly resolution. So in these 15 minutes, I will share with you my story of how I was able to achieve one of my dreams using the power of the weekly resolution. And you will also leave with tools and techniques that will help you achieve your dreams in 2021 using the power of the weekly resolution as well. So my story, why am I here and why am I telling you all this? So my story, because apparently we all need a story. That's what you've been teaching us, Andre, and that's what all entrepreneurs, and during this week we've been hearing it. So up until 2018, I believe that I have achieved any goal that I set to myself. At least that's what I personally believed. So, and also I was helping people lead more productive lives, which was also working well. But then in 2018, I think God might have felt that I became too cocky about my productivity tips and techniques and helping others lead more productive lives. So he sent me twins to test my abilities. So I also like to believe that I still rocked my goals, but apparently, and as obvious as it might be, definitely my goals reduced. So I didn't have as big of goals as I used to have. And then, as we all know, 2019 happened. Fast forward to 2019. I think you've all been in Lebanon and you all know what happened. Should I repeat, remind you? We're covered with that? I think we are. You're smiling, Andre. Okay, so 2019 in Lebanon, it was very hard. We were all passing through different types of hardships. I personally was passing through some family health related issues. And I was just informed that the project I was managing for the last 5 years was relocating from Lebanon abroad. And just to give you a background, for me, my job meant my self-worth. So if I didn't have this job that I was doing, it meant that I didn't have any self-worth. What would I do? It was very big for me. So then the tipping point, apparently because we all need a tipping point, I decided to ditch my New Year's resolution. Who knows what 2020 would bring? And I said, you know what, I'll focus on weekly challenges, 1 week at a time. And that's what happened. Then Chantal's 2020 weekly challenge was born. I decided that what I need to do is 1 week at a time, to take it 1 week at a time, one challenge at a time, and then improve my year in this way. Then COVID hit. Wait, my slides are going crazy. Then COVID hit and the challenge went big. Apparently, we all needed the motivation of the weekly resolution. Then we started evolving, the community became bigger. We started meeting every Monday for Grab Your Morning Coffee with Chantal, which was us every Monday at 8, starting our week in a nice way, learning something new and trying to support one another. Then we started consulting some experts, some people to support us in trying to achieve our challenges. And the challenges were fun. Some were related to food, some were related to eating healthy, some were related to exercising, journaling, reading, you name it. Any small thing that would help us lead a better year, we did it. We tried intermittent fasting, we tried reading, we tried exercising, calling some people, journaling, reflecting, etc. We are currently in week 42 and it's going so well, at least the way I see it. Let me now take a pause from my story a bit and tell you about something called the amygdala. Do you know it? I know, Audrey, you and I, we talked about it, you know it, you love the science behind it. So I'll tell you a bit about the amygdala. So now this is the first section of my presentation. And Andre, I'm making sure that I speak only 15 minutes because you know me and whoever knows me, they know I speak a lot. So the first section is about the amygdala and the power of the weekly resolution. Okay, so what's the link between the weekly resolution, taking it 1 week at a time, and the amygdala? So the amygdala is a very small piece of material or of brain, something in our brain that's responsible for something called the fight, flight, or freeze response. What the amygdala does is when we are in danger, it sends out adrenaline for us to make a decision of what to do. So I want you to close your eyes to go back to when we used to be cave people. Andre, you didn't close your eyes. Okay, I'm just joking. So the idea is let's go back to when we used to be cave people and imagine what our struggles or what our stresses were. Back then, we had the big fat hairy bear, and this bear wanted to eat us. So the second this bear wanted to come and eat us, we just saw the bear, the amygdala was fired up, sent adrenaline to our body, and it told us, hey, you need to take action. And then we decided if we freeze or if we flight or if we fight the bear. And most probably, whatever we chose was something that helped us survive. This worked back then, but unfortunately for some of us, and fortunately for the others, there are no fat bears around us. Now, I know that, Andre, your community has reached all the corners of the world. I'm not sure if someone watching us here is from the Antarctica. So maybe for them, it's still fortunately that the bear is still there. But anyway, for most of us now, it's unfortunately there is no longer a bear. There's something else. And this something else is different day-to-day stress. I like sometimes to think of this stress as our goals. Sometimes our goals stress us. And I'll tell you how they stress us. Let's pause a bit about the amygdala and let's talk about goal planning. And I will tell you how we can use and try to cheat our amygdala and not to scare it to be able to achieve our goals. Section 2, goal planning. Section 1, we talked a bit about the amygdala, why it was created. Now we'll talk about goal planning and then I'll link the two of them. And in the end, I'll tell you about the weekly resolution. So goal planning, we all know it. We've all been trained on it. I'll go briefly about it so I don't waste your time on it. So let's say my goal is to run the 42K marathon in November 2021. It's specific, it's measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. And by the way, you'll be receiving the handout to help you set your goals, write them, and all your goals. Okay, so I'll go briefly. This is the goal. It's specific, it's measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. Why is this goal important to me? The first time we need to decide about the goal, we need to know why it's important. Sometimes we decide to work on goals that are not as important to us. And if there isn't the why to the goal, we wouldn't do it. So we need to think why it's important to us. Maybe in this case, for this example, it would be like trying to test our limits because we have done the 10K, the 42K, why not? And actually now as I was writing the example, I was thinking, Chantal, that might be interesting for you. Anyway, later on that. So then we will think, okay, we have some challenges that we will face them. What are these challenges? We need to write down these challenges. Then we need to think, okay, for each challenge that I will be facing, how I will overcome it. And usually, depending on the type of the goal you have different challenges, different ways of overcoming them. And a lot of times the challenges are in our head, are things that we stop ourselves from doing. Then you need to think about what are the steps that you need to be doing in order to achieve your goal. And I'm writing here weekly steps because I believe that in order to achieve our goals, the minimum for us to be doing is weekly things. or basically to do one thing a day to achieve where you want to go, but at least something weekly. And then you will say, how will I know that I achieved this goal? Sometimes if our goals are goals of becoming, this is a bit hard. So if I want to become a better public speaker, okay, how can I know that I've become one? So this is important for us to pinpoint and decide. If I do this, then this means that I reached my goal. Then we need to decide how we will celebrate once we finish the goal, or we need to decide if we have different milestones. If, for example, we have a very big goal, if we wait until the end of the goal to celebrate, then it might be too late for us and we would need the motivation of the small celebrations. So we need to decide about these celebrations before we even start the goal, because we need to be looking forward to these celebrations. Then once we finish the goal, we need to think and ask ourselves, how does it feel now? Because usually we're always on autopilot and we don't take the time to stop and reflect. And reflection and journaling are one of the things that I kept advocating to myself and to everyone who was joining me in the challenge, that we need to stop and reflect. We need to think about what's happening with us, how we're feeling about it. Okay, so this example of the 42K was the best case scenario of goal planning. Sometimes it's not as easy. And sometimes we get the worst case scenario. So for example, if my steps were that I need to exercise 3 times a week for all the year until November 2021, and I need to run a mini marathon every Sunday, eat healthy, reduce my weight, etc., etc. I don't know about you, but for me, this is a very scary goal. I would definitely be very scared to achieve it. And this is where the amygdala comes back in. So the amygdala, and the link between the amygdala and our day-to-day stress, is that the amygdala, when it gets scared, it triggers us into changing our mind. So same as when we were closing our eyes and imagining we were cave people, this amygdala was being triggered to release the adrenaline to make us decide what to do. And one of them is to just run away. And sometimes when we have goals, and the goals are so big, we get so scared. So the amygdala gets triggered and it tells us, you know what, Chantal, you don't want the 42K marathon. It's so big, it's too much for you, you can't do it. Then Chantal will say, you know what, yes, I can do it, it's very big. And then I'll start talking myself out of it. And no, even if you know about it now, you'll start laughing and then you'll start saying that, I know I will be tricking myself into doing this. So the fun thing about the amygdala is that it gets triggered on small stuff and then we decide we don't want to do it anymore, we change our minds. Then comes the section 3 of my talk, which is the actual power of the weekly resolution. So how can we actually deal with this amygdala? So let's imagine that the amygdala is the dog in Tom and Jerry. Actually, let's imagine it this dog in Tom and Jerry who is sleeping, okay? So this dog is sleeping, and you know that Tom didn't want to wake him up because he'd get angry and he's tried to run away or like try to bite him. So what did Tom used to do? He used to tiptoe behind the dog so the dog doesn't wake up and Tom can do whatever he wanted. So our job is to tiptoe behind the amygdala and not scare it into getting fired up, sending adrenaline, scaring us, and not letting us do the goals that we want to do. So then what we need to be asking ourselves when we want to do a goal and when we want to think about 2021, I know that now as I'm talking, you all are thinking, and throughout this week, all the guest speakers have been helping all of us think about the things that we want to do in 2021, things we want to do to improve our year. And I'm sure this first second you saw the message of Andre announcing for this challenge, you thought, yes, I have this goal in mind, I have this dream in mind, and yes, I want to make it in 2021. And this week, we've all been learning how to improve our year. Now I want to ask you, what is one small thing that you can consistently do every week that will help you achieve your goal in 2021? It doesn't have to be something very big. When I started the Chantal's 2020 Weekly Challenge, I knew that I will talk myself out of it. And I did try a lot of times. Then I said, you know what, Chantal, it will get rough, it will get bad, but you have to continue because you said you will. And then I said, you know what? How can I consistently do it and not back up? I said, you know what? I'll make a video about it. I'll share it online. I had the blog since more than 10 years. I'll share it and then I'll tell people about it. And if I have people knowing that I did this, then I will not stop. And this is something that I didn't mention here in this in goal setting. You need to tell someone about it to make sure that this someone will hold you accountable. So now ask yourself, what is one small thing that you can do consistently every week that will help you achieve your goal? And sometimes it can be something as simple as running every Monday for 5 minutes. It will start as 5 minutes, but then it will start increasing because you think, like, seriously, Chantal, only 5 minutes? It took you more than 5 minutes to get dressed. And little by little, we'll be tiptoeing behind our amygdala and trying not to scare it. And I need to mention something, that a bad plan consistently implemented is better than a good plan inconsistently implemented. So when I started Chantal's 2020 Weekly Challenge, it wasn't the best plan anyone has ever created. It had flaws. I know them, I've seen them, but I had one consistent thing of posting one video, one blog post, one challenge per week. And I did, and I stick to it, and then it helped me achieve what I did, and I'll continue and tell you a bit more about it in my story. So now back to my story. So we talked about the amygdala, we talked about the goal setting, and we talked about how we can trick the amygdala using the power of weekly resolution. I think it's clear for now. So fast forward to 2020, during lockdown, working from home. I have already told you that I have twins. So I'm sure you've all been working at home. Some have kids, some no, some have animals like Andre to take care of. We've been seeing them. I saw the dogs today. So it was a work-life balance mayhem for all of us. So I needed to find a foolproof homemade recipe that will help me balance my life and be able to achieve my dreams, achieve my goals, and still have time for my family and my friends' goals, aspirations. And I did, and I created one. And I called it the Uno Trio Life Balance Concept. And it's my own, very own concept, and I'll be telling you about it. So I was only able to maintain and regain intention and mastery in my life when I realized two things. One is that I come first. I know that we all help everybody around us, but don't stop for ourselves. But I think when they say in the airplane that we need to put our own oxygen mask first, they do it on purpose, and it has a specific and very important meaning, because if we cannot breathe, we cannot help anyone around us. So when I realized that I come first, really, before anything else, and this doesn't mean that I need to spend all my days doing spas or doing just things for myself, but I need to do one thing a day or a week that will help me come back and get in touch with myself. And I realized that there are 3 other pillars that come next. And I'll also be telling you about these pillars. So these are the Uno Trio Life Balance concept. And you can see them now, I'll explain them. So I'm calling it the mindset, and around it we have the relationships, the environment, and the fulfillment. So the Uno, it's my interior Uno. It's something with me and myself. It's me, my mindset, what I do to myself and what I do for myself. And I have the 3 exterior trios. And these are my environment, which are my family and my home, with the relationships, which are love and social, fulfillment, their hobbies, career, and learning. And I've realized that even if these 3 are very important, I need to find a way to master these 3 after I master myself. And then I'll be talking a bit more about how we can find one thing a day or one thing a week for us to get closer. So here it is. One thing a week that gets us closer to our Uno Trio Life Balance. So it doesn't have to be the biggest or hardest thing ever. For us to find balance, it can be as simple as me calling one of my friends or someone from my family to tell them, hey guys, I miss you, just saying hi. Once per week. It doesn't have to be something very dramatic. I can think about one small thing for me to do for my family this week that will help me feel that I'm gaining balance. Same thing for my personal fulfillment, no matter what it is. If I can have a job or even not have a job and still have this fulfillment. And I also need to ask myself, what is one thing I can do to myself per week that will help me achieve this life balance also. After we ask ourselves, what can we do per week? We also have to ask ourselves, what can we do per day? It can be as simple as me telling my husband, hey, thank you, or hey, I love you. It can be something trying to decide that I will sit with my kids with the time that I have and try to be intentional about me playing with them. Same thing, trying to cook a healthy meal. It doesn't have to be something very complicated, but every day we have to intentionally think about one thing that will get us closer to this balance and think about these 4 things. Once we try to do it bit by bit, it will become easier and you will be able to master your work-life balance using the Uno Trio Life Balance concept. But as we know, life balance doesn't come by chance. So we need something to help us get there, and we need a method that will help us get there fast and sure. And I created this small method that will help me and help some of you reach this. And it's called the weekly resolution. It's a planner for her that will help women achieve the Uno Trio life balance that they have been all trying to achieve. So this is the weekly resolution. It's a planner. I'll tell you a bit more about it. I've been working on it this year. So the planner helps me, first of all, because I love planners, and it helps you master our Uno Trio life balance while making our dreams come true, and also taking it 1 week at a time. So the planner has many sections. It helps us draft our Uno Trio vision board, because we all need to have a vision for each of our 4 pillars in our life. It helps us plan our goals, track our routines and plan for the routines, help us with tracking and planning our expenses, our meals, chores, groceries, because sometimes these can get overwhelming. It also helps us track our period, weight, and workout. It's a versatile planner for any year. So whenever we buy it, we can actually get to start using it. It encourages reflection and gratitude, and it has the quotes and affirmations that help us stay on top of the things and stay motivated and empowered. So when we treat every week as a whole year, we end up not only mastering our week, but also our life. So the power of the weekly resolution is us looking at it in a way where it's a full year, and how we can actually celebrate it and enjoy it every week, 1 week at a time. And the benefit and the most interesting thing about the weekly resolution is that it's part of a community. So every Monday, we are still grabbing our morning coffee together. And every Monday, we are meeting virtually. We're learning something new. We're checking on one another, and we're setting intentions for the full week. And we're taking it 1 week at a time. I know that a lot of us, we might buy planners, start using them, and then stop using them. But the interesting thing is there's a community where we can help one another every Monday. A lot of you are watching now, and it has been helping all of us achieve our goals, no matter what they are. So now tell me, what is one small thing you will do every week in 2021 that will help you achieve your goal by the end of 2021?
Let's see in the comments.
Yes, I would like to see.
So answer Chantal's question, and that's your challenge also for 2021.
Yes.
And I hope journaling will become one of the small things that you do every day, not only every week, for you to achieve your goals in 2021. Because we all know, at least me and Chantal, we agree on the power of journaling. Yes. And I love that quote. I forgot who said it, but it says, "Paper is more patient than people." So sometimes you need to write it on paper, because it will help you more than telling it to people or talking about it to people, because they have more patience than people, right?
Right.
So, I can see Jumana said it's really impressive. Good. Show us some thumbs up for Chantal if you enjoyed and got value from this session. Marwa said reading books on weekly basis.
Yes.
Perfect.
Actually, there's a section in the planner that helps us write our list of books to read. And since you're talking about journaling, there are sections for the daily page where we write our gratitude for the day and our intention, and in the end to reflect on the day.
Great. So Chantal, if people are interested in the planner, how can they reach out and check it?
They can visit my website. It's here on the screen, and they can reserve their copy now. We're still in the process in finalizing the print. Hopefully we'll have some copies ready before Christmas. If someone wants to buy a gift for someone, they can fill a form on the website and reserve their copy. Someone from the team will call them and will confirm that they're interested, and we'll keep them updated. Also on social media, I'll be updating like the status of where we're at, but hopefully before Christmas we'll have the copies out. Not
Great.
hopefully,
I included the website in the chat. And also Joanna Furi said learning something new every week.
Perfect.
Great. And thank you Chantal, and thank you for sharing with us your system that I believe it was very successful to you, because I was following you weekly with your videos, and it inspired me many times. Thank you for the energy and the community that you are creating. Thank you, Andre, and thank you for inviting me to be part of your 5 to 5 Forward challenge. Thank you. Have a great day. You too. Bye bye. 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 So thank you again for everyone who's joining. I can see many outcomes in the chat. Pascal, excellent idea. Jumana, planner is amazing. Zena, thanks, very interesting. And that's great. Show us some thumbs up. Let me know that you are following, because I see many people watching, but not many are commenting. So let me know that you are following, not only watching. So that's our first speaker, and I was really amazed by having Chantal joining and sharing this, because if we want to make 2021 a great year, we need to plan it well. We need to keep moving forward and also challenging ourselves every week, every day, every minute, maybe, to become better than the week before or the day before. So thank you, Chantal, again.